Hey there, today I'm going to show you how to mix the color Titan Buff. So you might be thinking, I can just buy Titan Buff at the store. And that's true, you can just purchase this color easily at the store. However, if you run out of the paint, or if you just really like to understand color theory deeply, you might really enjoy this video. So first of all, Titan Buff is a beigey, kind of warm white color, and it's gorgeous. It's really well used for backgrounds, for sand, for landscapes, for white skin color tones. There are many uses for Titan Buff. So in this video, I will show you what the recommendations are out there for how to mix Titan Buff and what actually works the best. So let's get mixing. So first I'll start with the actual Titan Buff color, and this way I will know what color I'm trying to mix. The colors you will need to mix Titan Buff are titanium white, raw sienna, or burnt umber, yellow, and blue. So my first mix will be white, raw sienna, yellow, and blue. And I will start with the titanium white and raw sienna just to get the correct darkness of the color. And we need to add some yellow, and it doesn't really matter what yellow you use. And you can see that right here it looks a bit peachy, so I need my yellow, and just a little bit of yellow is good enough. I think I had the color pretty well at this point, but I end up adding some more yellow and raw sienna to the color. And so we'll see how that looks. What's tricky when you're color mixing is that it's hard to see the color until you actually paint it on the surface. And so you can see I did add too much yellow there. And so I'm still going to paint this on for now, but later in the video, I will remix this color and show you how I fix it. Now to try to correct the yellow, I'm actually adding a little bit of blue in there. And while this does help a little bit, I still do need to remix this color later. Now we're going to try another mix, and that mix is white, raw sienna, and blue. So we're forgetting the yellow in this mix, and we're just going to use the blue to neutralize a little bit because the raw sienna has actually an orangish hue to it. And so blue is the opposite of orange. So the blue will actually tone down the orange and make it a little bit more cool. So I want to pop in here real quick. I have a guide on the most important colors for color mixing, and that is linked in the description below. And so if you want that guide, it lays it out for you, makes it really easy. Just go ahead and click that link in the description and you can get that PDF today. Our next mix is titanium white, raw sienna, yellow, and burnt umber. And so you can see here, I'm first starting with the raw sienna and the burnt umber again to get the correct darkness. Then I add the yellow in because it is too peachy, right? So we need that yellow to warm up the color a little bit. I'm also adding a bit more white here because it got a little dark. And I actually think that is the most successful mix right there. Now we are going to use white, burnt umber, and yellow to try to mix our Titan Buff. Once again, I'm starting with the titanium white and the burnt umber to establish the darkness, and then I add in the yellow to add the warmth. So you can see I keep comparing my palette knife to the original Titan Buff because I really want to keep comparing back to that and make sure I get the color right. You can see here that this color is coming out to be too yellow, and so I'm trying to balance that out with the burnt umber. But in doing so, I actually start to darken the color too much. And so this is another color that I'll actually fix later in the video. I will remix it and lighten it a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to remix the white, raw sienna, yellow, and blue mix. And I start off here by first adding the raw sienna, white, and blue. And then I will add the yellow in at the end so I can try to add just enough yellow, like just what I need. And you can see I'm pretty darn close with this color here. But I forgot to add the yellow in. So once I paint that in, I can see that I need more yellow. Just adding a little bit of yellow to the paint, mixing it in, and then once I paint this in, I think this is a lot better than what it was before. Now we're going to remix white, burnt umber, and yellow because that got really dark at the bottom there. It is a nice beige, and actually all of these colors are really nice. But the purpose here was for me to show you how to mix Titan Buff as closely as possible. But the reality is these are all really nice cream colors, and any of them would work really well in a painting if you want to add some warm highlights. So in the end here, I think the most successful mix and the easiest one is just doing titanium white, raw sienna, and a bit of blue. But if you don't have raw sienna, then you can also try titanium white, burnt umber, and yellow, and that also makes a pretty decent mix. As long as you have white, brown, and maybe a little bit of yellow or a little bit of blue in case you need to warm up or cool down the color, then you should be able to make a really nice Titan buff. Okay, now that I've showed you how to mix Titan buff, let's look at how I use these colors in a painting. So this is a work in progress, and this is the Titan buff on its own right here. And you can see how beautifully it's made these sort of peachy, warm oranges when I mix that with this orange-red color. So with Titan Buff, it's really not just about using the color on its own. It's how nice of a warm tint you can get with it. So you can imagine if I mixed white, just titanium white with this red orange, it would feel a little bit just too chalky, right? So this titanium buff really makes a gorgeous mix. And we also see up here with the blue, this is a gorgeous light blue that has a bit of warmth to it because of the warmth in the color. And so when we use Titan Buff instead of white to create our highlights and to create our